Hello to all you subbies, slaves, sissies, pets, masters, mistresses, doms, dames, goddesses, and yes, even you vanilla folks out there listening. Welcome to another episode of BDSM and You, your weekly guide to everything BDSM. And I am your host, Jim Felker. I just love this thing. La la la. Anyway, this week's episode is all about the BDSM Glossary. And this week we are going to talk about the meanings and behind all the words that you hear in the BDSM lifestyle. And we're going to go through, this is part one, so we're going to do a two-parter, and this will be A through M. We're going to start with numbers, and we're going to go 24/7. Alright? And this one, basic meaning is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is a relationship that not only is every day, it's every hour, every minute, etc. So basically, a slave slash sub is living in and such. So that's how 24/7 basically works. Now on to A. Abrasion, which is the use of any abrasive material safe for skin for the purpose of stimulation, such as sandpaper. There are many different kinds of abrasive uses for things, so find a toy and use it. Animal training, which is the role playing as an animal, usually by the submissive. So there's pony training, there's dog, there's cat, there's I've even seen bird, which is quite neat. Then we have arse play or ass play, which is any play involving the ass. And needless to say, that's one of my favorites, but hey, I'm not going to complain. B&D, or B/D, is bondage and discipline. Bastinado is a type of punishment involving beating of the feet. Bondage, which is the restriction of the body's movement using any method, and this can be any part of the body. So tape, latex, etc., etc. There's so much fun stuff you can bondage someone up with. Me personally, I love being bound in plastic wrap and then duct taped, and that just makes me happy. A happy subby. There's branding, which is the use of a hot metal object to scar the body and show ownership. Now, I don't recommend this for everyone because it's not something that everyone would want to do, but I do know a few people who have taken that step, and if that's their choice, so be it. I respect it, and some of the marks can be quite elaborate. There's breath play, which is one of my favorite forms of play, and it's basically a form of play where the lack of oxygen is used for stimulation. But please note, this can be very, very dangerous, and you must be with someone that you trust implicitly if you try breath play. Alright, there's CBT, which is cock and ball torture. Now this can include hanging weights from one's balls, piercing the scrotum, etc. There's many different ways. Alright, let's go into a collar, which is a device worn around the neck, usually made of leather or metal. And basically, to collar someone is to give them a collar as a symbol of your relationship. It's like a marriage. If you are serious about each other in the BDSM lifestyle, you collar your pet, and they basically become part of you. And a collaring should be taken very seriously. Collars are worn by many submissives in scenes, but they are not necessarily collared. So this means they might not be owned, but they do respect and love the one they are with, so they wear the collar as a sign of respect. Now on to the D's. DNS or D/S, which is domination and submission, or dominance and submission. A daddy, which is a term used to describe a dominant figure in a parental role play, can be played by either males or females. Mummy or mummy and girl and boy are used as well, and this is basically for people who enjoy versions of age play and such, but they can also be used as a term of endearment towards the sub or the dom. This discipline is physical impact play, including spanking, paddling, cropping, and so on. A dominant is a person that enjoys to dominate someone. A dame, domina, dominatrix, mistress, ma'am, or top are used for female dominance, whereas male dominance can be called dom, master, and sir. And domination is the act of controlling a submissive. This may be done in any way the couple have agreed upon. Now, that's the very important part here, is that when in a D/S relationship, everything must be talked about with each other. There's no such thing as someone doing something you do not want to do. That's just wrong, and most people that I know don't do that, and it would be very stupid if you did it. Electrical play, which is the use of electricity, low-powered, of course, for stimulation, can be very safe and very dangerous. You want to be very well trained before you ever try this, because even with low-powered electricity, you can injure or kill someone. Endorphins, which are chemicals produced by the body when under stress or pain. These chemicals produce a state of pleasure or ecstasy when someone is quite happy being touched, played with, etc. We have fetish, which is a substance, object, or body part which is sexually exciting. Sometimes a fetishist may need the presence of the fetish to induce sexual arousal. For me, I'm quite fond of feet, but that's just me. We have fisting, which is using one or more hands in the vagina or anus. This must be done very, very carefully, and it takes years of practice to do it safely, and I must warn against it because it is not something that everyone can do, nor do I recommend everyone trying, because you could very much and very well injure yourself. Now, a flag is the use of the hanky code or the handkerchief code, also known as a bandana code or flagging. It is a way of indicating, usually among gay male or casual sex seekers or BDSM practitioners in the leather subculture in the United States, Canada, and Europe, whether they are top or bottom and what kind of sex they are seeking. Basically, by wearing cotton color-coded handkerchiefs or bandanas, usually in the back pocket or around the belt loop. Hanky code was basically widely used in the 1970s as a gay code. However, nowadays it is also used by many bisexual, pansexual, and queer people. Personally, as a bisexual transgender myself, I have never used it, but maybe one day I will, I don't know. It's just not for me, personally. Flagellation, which is striking the body with an object to provide pain and sexual gratification. Genitorture, which is the use of pain on genitals, such as spanking genitals, etc., flogging the genitals, etc. A golden shower, which is urinating on or being urinated on by others. Now, again, this can be done by some, but I don't recommend it for all, because it can cause the risk of infection and various other diseases. So I do not recommend it for all, but it is something that if you want to try, at least get tested, make sure that your partner and you are safe to be able to do it. And it can be interesting, to say the least. Kinky, which is interested in any non-mainstream sexual activity, like me. Alright, and now we get into the G, and we go with a Gorean, which is a subgenre based upon the rituals and practices created within the world of gore in the erotic novels by John Norman. Now, Gorean culture is based on stereotypical gender-based roles, which is considered by many to be in conflict with the BDSM lifestyle, where there is actual freedom for either gender to act in any role. Now, basically, in Gorean culture, it is females who are the slaves, and males are the tops, and there is no other way around. So it's not for everyone, and it's an interesting subculture, but it doesn't really reflect what the BDSM lifestyle is all about. Gunplay. Now this is the practice including actual or simulated guns into a scene. Again, not recommended for most people for very good reason. Hard limits, which are what someone absolutely will not do. This is usually non-negotiable. My hard limits include needles, which I am absolutely terrified of, fire play, and a few other things which I won't go into here. Now, a harem is a group of subs serving one or more dominants. Now, this is becoming more and more common in the internet age, as many domes can't meet their subs. So, when online, they collar many subs and have a harem. That way, they never really get bored, and I can respect that. Me, personally, I'm always of the mind that I would prefer to have real-time play. Infantilism, which is a parent or child or parent/baby role-playing. Now, this is also called age play or baby play, but it's basically pretending to be a parent or a child or a baby in the BDSM lifestyle. Knife play, which is a slow, methodical sensation of the sub with the edges and points of knives, usually without cutting the skin. Fear plays a large part in this one, in the stimulus of the submissive, but it also plays a large role in basically learning if your sub has this kind of a limit. Because if you're using a knife on the skin of a sub, they'll either be freaked or they'll enjoy it. Me personally, I get freaked out every time. I get squicked, so I can't do knife play. So not really my thing. Now, this one I do enjoy, which is called mummification. And that's basically immobilizing the body by wrapping it up, usually with layers of plastic or latex, etc., or duct tape, which is my favorite. Breathing and other safety measures basically must be maintained by leaving the face or at least the mouth and nose open. Body temperature may also be affected, so a warm environment and aftercare is important. Basically, you can't do this for too long, or you could get really hurt, or basically even die if you sweat too much. This is basically mummification is often used to enhance a feeling of total helplessness and can be incorporated with sensation play. So you can use a knife on top of the tape and etc. There's many ways to do this, and quite frankly, it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm with someone. Now, and last and certainly not least for this week is a munch, which is basically a group of people that are into BDSM meeting at a vanilla place, usually a restaurant or a club, etc. And basically, a munch comes down to meeting people of the like mind. And that's one of the best things you can possibly do starting out in this lifestyle, is go to a munch, meet people, get to know them, get to know what they like, get to know what you like. Get to learn who you are inside and out before you try this stuff, because if you don't, you're going to hurt yourself, and we don't want that. Anyway, this episode is coming to a close, so I'd like to remind everyone to play safe, be good to each other, and pick up the BDSM and You guide at pretty much bookstores everywhere that you can pick it up, and 50% of all profits from the book go to the AIDS Society of Canada. So we will see you again next week for part 2 of our BDSM glossary. Thanks a lot for listening. I'll see you next week.